Hi, everybody. It's Ryan here with Pie Records with Scott Reynolds of The Pavers, Goodbye Harry, All, Steamy Beast, musician extraordinaire. How are you?
Good. I'm doing really well. Uh, this pandemic has given me a chance to, I don't know, do some thinking that I needed to do. So that's good. How about you? You getting through it?
Yeah, I should be going to back to work pretty soon. Um,
Doing what?
I work in TV. I work at NBC Sports Philly.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Hey,
but
if
I
you
have
ever
this
if
record
you need
company.
bumper music or anything, I'm your guy.
Oh, you do that as well?
I could, if I was asked. Yeah.
Because I've been talking to a few people like Doug Carrion and Sam Williams, and they do a lot of that stuff too.
Do they?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. Make a little money.
yeah. I
Hard to
mean,
make money off music. So
it's good stuff. So,
yeah,
yeah, we'll definitely mention that.
cool.
So
Cool.
let's start off with how you came to be in all and your experience with all.
Oh, that's a really long story. Let me see if I can smush it a bit. I lived here, basically Buffalo. I'm in a small town south of Buffalo. And I went to college in Pennsylvania. Got out of college. I was an art major, didn't know what to do. I wanted to play music. That's all I knew is I liked playing music. I didn't want to do art. I wanted to do music. So I wrote songs and did my thing and stuff, but I realized there's just no way. If you want to do it, you got to do it. So either needed to be in New York or LA. So I looked around for bands that I thought kind of sounded like what I do. And Descendants were probably the closest to what I did. And, like I wanted to go to Los Angeles, meet the Descendants rather than like going to New York and meeting the Misfits because they were scary and I didn't want to wear makeup. So, yeah, I just went out there. I left. I drove out. Lived in Hollywood for a year, and I got in a band with Tony Lombardo called Boxer Rebellion. Tony Lombardo's the original bass player from the Descendants.
Yeah.
I had an old newsletter my friend gave me that he was looking for a singer. So I went and pestered him and got in his band. And we practiced at the Descendants place, the Descendants Central headquarters in Lomita, California. So I was living in Hollywood, which I don't know if you know the area, but it's quite a drive. And I was driving there 5 nights a week, 6 nights a week after working all day. It was hard. I got out of Tony's band and my lease was up and I quit my job. So I lived in the Descendants parking lot in my car because they had a safe parking lot and they were nice enough guys to not freak out that this weird dude was out in a car in their parking lot. And, Bill heard me sing and stuff with other bands and he recorded my band 3 Car Pile Up. And so when a job opened up, he gave it to me. And I actually, when I went out there, I wasn't expecting to be in the Descendants. I was thinking, well, because I'm from a small town, I don't know anything. I was thinking, well, maybe there's like this whole group of musicians out there that make this kind of music. So when I actually ended up in the band, it was like, well, that worked pretty well, so
Yeah.
that's how it happened.
That's great, man. And my wife's favorite song, "She's My Ex."
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I think that was the second song I recorded with them.
Oh, really?
I think I recorded Crazy first. Remember, Crazy was like the
Yeah.
B-side of the She's My Ex single. And then we did She's My Ex. Yeah. It was
That's
a
a hell
long
of
time.
a side too.
That's what, 30-something years, 31 years ago?
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
So you left all in what, 93,
Something like that, yeah.
and you started Goodbye Harry. How did that come to be? Because that was in a similar vein, but in a little bit of harder edge to it.
Yeah, well, when I left All, we were kind of diverging musically. I wanted to do something, and they wanted to do something, and you can see the difference. Uh, and so, and I had met my ex-wife then, and she had a kid. My daughter, she became my daughter Megan, and she lived out in Washington, and I was kind of done with All. We were kind of done with each other at that time. And so I moved out to Washington, and Mike the Pike, our old roadie, lived out there. Quite a good bass player, a good punk rock songwriter, and we started a band. And just found Artie, our guitar player, was a friend of Mike's, and he was an exceptionally good, not just guitar player. He played lute. He was just quite a good musician. And then we got Tony Reed from Tree People. I saw him play drums, and he was just a monster. And I was like, really want him to be in the band. So we just formed this band, and yeah, it was fun. That was the first incarnation. Yeah,
Right.
and then the second record, we got an entirely different band.
Oh, you did?
No, yeah, completely different lineup, because Tony didn't want to tour, and the other guys started skipping practice and stuff, and they kind of lost interest. We had this tour booked. I ended up having to cancel the entire tour, and I begged Greg Ginn, Black Flag Greg,
Yeah.
to give us a chance, because we kind of blew it. We canceled our tour and all this other stuff. I told him I'll get another band, we'll do another record, and he let us. And so the second band was Trevor on guitar, Kelly Mickelson on bass. Trevor was from My Name, and he was just such a good guitar player, such a good guy. He's since passed away. And he was a very good friend. So it was cool when he called me and said, I'd like to be the guitar player. I was over the moon. And then we found Kelly. And then Chris Maggio, our drummer, who is just an absolute monster, he was from New Jersey. And we needed a drummer. And I put an ad. I don't remember how you did it back then. But he responded to our ad. And became the drummer. So then we made the second one, I Can Smoke, and we actually toured out. We did a tour with that band, and then that fell apart because I moved back to Buffalo, New York, and then I moved to Austin and did that shit down there. And now I'm back home. So yeah.
Can you talk about the name at all?
What name? Goodbye, Harry?
Yeah.
It was about when a situation is bad. It's my whole life is bad situations, and it was something me and my wife used to say, that one day it wouldn't be Harry anymore, and so it became the name of the band because we were going to become giant rock stars.
Cool.
We even had a song about it, a really terrible song about it, but
I like that stuff.
Do you?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, that was Goodbye Harry. I thought we made some good songs. That was pretty good bands. Both
Big Little. Big Little.
Yeah, that's just a story of a situation that I think we're all familiar with, but it's not about any one person in particular. It's more about a societal problem it's a metaphor, maybe, or yeah.
So, before we get into the Pavers, I want to talk about some of the stuff you've been doing online. Your stuff for your shows, and when you did Frog, I was watching you play the piano, and I was kind of stunned to see how the piano matched what the guys were playing and all.
Well, like Frog. What was on that record? Frog, Crawdad, and Cyclops. All three of those were written on the piano, and I wrote them probably before I was even in all. But the band I was in before couldn't take stuff from the piano to guitar, and I'm a ham and egger. I teach myself how to play the instruments, so I can't help. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. So they got tabled, and so when we came up for the second record, I said, "Well, I have a few songs that are on piano," and they said, "Okay, let's hear them." And then, of course, they took them to that ridiculous degree that they took them. But yeah, they like pretty much on those songs. Stefan is my right hand and Carlo's my left. It's pretty much the same, you know. Carlo goes a little more, and Stefan might adjust a couple of chords, but for the most part, it's pretty much. And that's why when we played it on that show, we were surprised at how well it worked, because we had never done that before, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, him on guitar and me on piano. I said, play Frog, send it to me. He did. And then I played my part along with it, and I didn't have to change anything. Immediately it clicked. So it was like, this sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I was happy with that.
Tell us about the rad version of Blitzkrieg Bop that you do.
I don't know how that came about. I'm sort of bummed because I can't share the video because it's been flagged, because I should have not called it Blitzkrieg Bop, and now it's on my other account, so I can't get to it. I should have called it something that adjusted it just enough so that the algorithm didn't pick it up, you know. But they won't let me share it. But I don't know how I ended up doing that. I just was messing around and playing those weird jazz chords, and I thought it was funny, you know. So yeah, so I do Blitzkrieg Bop. I do this open mic, and every night I start the open mic with Blitzkrieg Bop. So
yeah. My son saw me watching the video, and he came over and started singing it. He recognized it right away.
How old is your son?
7.
7? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's killer.
I said, come here. Look at Scott.
I wish whoever was in charge of the Ramones estate or whatever, I wish there was a way I could show it to them. Because it's a tribute, you know. Ramones are one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
You know, I just did it in my weird jazz style because that's what I do. But you know, I just love the Ramones. So, you know, we all do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you have the Pavers. I don't want to ask something stupid, but was this actually the name of your union that you were a part of?
No, no. We called it the Pavers because of those bricks. We saw them somewhere on TV and go, Pavers, that'd be a cool name for a band. So we just went with Pavers, came up with this whole union idea. And it's 1,500 because at that time, and maybe still, for me, having $1,500 in the bank was the epitome of success. I mean, pretty much I had anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 in the bank at my best. And so we were like, yeah, there's more to it than that, but yeah. So we came up with the union because we figured the union would be a good way to get all our people together. They all become part of the union, and it was a thing back on tour and stuff. So yeah, so it's the local 1,500.
So how much difference did you see in your music writing between All Goodbye Harry and the Pavers?
Difference in what regard?
Just your style. Like how different were you looking to be?
I don't think I've ever changed hardly at all. The bands have changed around it. I mean, I don't show up for practice with an idea of what the song should sound like. It usually is something where I'm pleasantly surprised when the band plays it. But as you can see from the piano stuff, they didn't change anything, and I didn't either, you know. If the Pavers played Frog in My Pocket, it would sound completely different than if All played it. But it wouldn't be because of something I did. It would be because it's a different band. So, you know, I find musicians that I like, that I already like, and then go, you guys want to play the way you'd play in my band? I don't like find musicians and then try to make a sound. I think that a predetermined sound is very limiting, you know? Like people go, I want to start a metal band, or I want to start a rockabilly band, or I want to start whatever. The most interesting bands in the world come from places where you know, a lot of times where beggars can't be choosers. So you get people with all kinds of different musical influences, and they're stuck with them because it's the only bass player they know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why like bands like Devo come from Akron or whatever. So, you know, I think when you come in with preconceived notions of a band sound, you're probably going to make a boring band that tries to do something that's already been done rather than inventing something new. You know, there's very little chance. So that's kind of a long-winded answer, but yeah, the differences are incidental. I had nothing to do with them, you know, no preconceived notions.
Awesome.
Plus, I like all kinds of music. I'm not like a punk guy, and I'm not like a jazz guy. I like very, very little because most people are imitators and boring. So I like very, very little of all kinds of music. You know, I literally can't think of any kind of music that I would consider inherently illegitimate. You know what I mean? Like music, I'll hear a commercial and I'll go, wow, that's really cool written song, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll play anything.
So you did a version of Mary. Who did you do that second version of Mary with?
The Pavers. We were contractually obligated to do it.
Really?
I sort of didn't want to, but I wanted to go to Japan, so that was part of the deal. Was that the Japan thing? Yeah, it might have been. I wanted to go somewhere. I don't make a lot of money. I make no money, and a lot of times I'm sort of at the mercy of the people that are interested in helping me do something. They come up with something and they go, well, we can do this if you do this. And a lot of times I say no, and then other times I go, okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
You know, there's never like I'm not Elton John. I can't go nope because they'll go, okay, no tour of Europe, you know. Yeah. So we want to release something in Europe for the tour, and we want you to do an all song. And I'll go because I don't really love doing that. Always the band. I don't like recording unless it's just me by myself or something way out there like my weird jazz stuff. I don't really like to step on that. Plus, all plays all like nobody else can, and you know, all doesn't play the Pavers. You know, so yeah. Anyway.
So you're getting the Pavers back together. What do you guys?
Yeah, we're back. We're working on new stuff. We're going to record a record. I just don't know how or through whom. It's also different now, you know. I'm completely at a loss. Like I have a record now in the bag. I went out to the blasting room and Bill recorded it with me, and he did it as a complete favor. See, that's where I got my blasting room mug.
Is this
good mug? No. But I was like, hey, can I get one of those mugs? He said, yeah. Anyway, I've been talking to Bill about doing this record of like when I played my solo shows, I never had anything in the merch table that sounded like me and my guitar. So people would come to the merchandise table and buy go home with a Pavers record. And a lot of people didn't really know who I was. And like when I did Australia and stuff, and they didn't know. And then they go home and have this really loud rock record and go, yeah, this isn't what I heard. I wanted to. So I said, well, I got to remedy that. And I asked Bill how much it would cost, you know, buddy rate for me to record just me and my guitar out at the blasting room. And he said, $0 and you can stay at my house. And I said, that's a pretty good deal. So I went out there and we had a blast. Bill and I get along really good now. He's one of my best pals, you know? And so we have long talks and shit. And so we just had a great time. We drank a lot and and he worked the buttons and I did the playing, and nobody else was there, so it was just the two of us. Really fun. And I came up with this record. It's going to be called Chihuahua in Buffalo, and it's like a bunch of my songs, all just recorded with me and my guitar. And it's ready. The artwork's ready. Everything's ready. But I don't know how to release a record anymore. I don't know what to do with it. So, and that's the same problem I'm finding with the Pavers stuff. I don't know. Well, that and the fact that we can't get it together because there's this pesky flu going around killing everybody. But yeah, even if we could, I have to figure out what exactly to do. You know, I really think anybody who likes the way I write songs should really check out the acoustic record because it's sort of it breaks it down to such a level that you can go, oh, okay, that's how he played it.
Yeah.
If you're interested in me, you'll find it interesting, and if you're not, then you won't. But I think a lot of people should check it out. I just don't know how to put it out, but it's ready.
That would be great. I'm sure it sounds awesome. I'm a big
Bill
fan
killed it.
of stuff.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I said I love the acoustic stuff you did. It's totally off the wall.
Well, that's how my songs sound when I write them. There's just no difference. It's whatever band takes it, changes it to the way they play, and I'm almost always like pleasantly surprised and happy with it. But I also like the way I play them too. So that was another thing. It's like I wouldn't mind getting some of these songs out there so people could hear how they were originally envisioned. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah.
I want to just briefly touch on the Blasting Room anniversary and the shows you did, or the show that you did with them, and you did one a couple years ago, I think, right?
Yeah, they come up once in a while.
How did how was the feeling to be back with the guys in front of, like, everybody loves Scott and all, so it must have made you feel pretty good.
It did. It was wonderful. Life is weird, like things go around, and what goes around comes around is a real thing, and I don't know if that applies here, but but anyway, it's really cool to be. It's almost like when you go to your high school reunion or whatever. You go back and, like, we were together as a band for what, 4 or 5 years, 4 years, 5, I don't know, and 4 years maybe. But we've been friends, and we were friends before we were a band. I lived, and then to be playing these old songs and remembering, we were doing 200 shows a year all over the world. So there's all these memories. So when you get up there and you're playing it, unlike a high school reunion, you have this tangible thing that you all created and participated in at a certain point in your history. So it's incredibly moving in a weird way to look at each other and go, wow, we're old, we're wrinkly and we're fat and we're whatever we are, and we're still doing this, and it's really good to see all you guys. It's pretty emotional, but it's also pretty hilarious because we did so much shit. Even the bad shit is funny at this point, and so I think like half of the set I was either smiling really hard or actually laughing during a song. Like, I mean, if you hear the recordings, there are times like something will pop into my head and I'll laugh, and you can hear it, and completely spontaneous because I'll just think about when somebody fell down the stairs in Europe, or just like those 4 years were the most intense, difficult, and interesting years of my life in a lot of ways. So we lived like filthy animals, and we had no money, and we did it all over the world, and so it's pretty intense. to be us now and get on stage and play stuff. You know, it's pretty cool.
The Pavers new stuff. How much of that is done? Are you writing? Are you recording?
Not a lot. We had just really gotten started trying to understand what we sound like now and figure out where the record was headed when all of this hit. You know, I have a lot of lyrics to write. There's a lot of music, and yeah, it hadn't gotten that far, you know. It really hadn't. So, but it was rolling, you know, and we'll get back at it if the world will allow it, you know, because everybody's on board, and that's another thing is that the Pavers are a really awesome group of friends. So there's as much. We're doing the record as much just to bro out and have fun as we are to, because nobody's besides me is interested in being a musician for a living. Maybe Josh, and touring the world and stuff. Like they all got lives, so we're gonna make the record, do some selected shows, and then, you know, me, I want to. If I had my way, I would be on tour every day, all the time. I still love it, so I plan when the world allows it to be everywhere. You know, playing to 5 people or 5,000, I don't care. You know, never lost a bug.
That's awesome. You wanna talk about your health issues that
Sure.
I'm sure a lot of people were worried about you, and
Yeah,
I think
it's
at first
scary.
I thought you had the virus, but then I heard different a couple days later.
Yeah, the virus could have been better. You know, I had a stroke. I was driving back from my mom's. I get migraine headaches, and when I get them, I get a blind spot. I get this crazy flickering shit in my vision. I can't see. So I thought that's what was going on, but it was different. And I pulled over and I called my girlfriend. I said, "Hey, something's fucking wrong. I don't know what's going on, but something's wrong. And I can't drive." But luckily, I was within walking distance of our apartment. She walked over. We went and called my brain doctor, my migraine guy, and he asked me a couple of questions, and I answered him. He said, "Get straight to the emergency room." So I went to the emergency room. They ran tests, and the doctor's like, "You are having a stroke. You need to go to Buffalo, to the big hospital." So they took me in an ambulance to Buffalo. Yep, I was having a stroke, and it was something because it fucks with your brain. So on a lot of different, like I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember stuff, and they would tell me the same. I'd ask the same questions over and over again. I couldn't remember I had a stroke. There was a sign on the wall that said about stroke treatment, like what you do when you have a stroke, because I was in that part of the hospital. And I would get out of bed and walk out and look at the sign to see what happened to me over and over again. And then I go, "Holy shit, I had a stroke?" And that went on for almost 2 weeks.
Wow.
It was scary, but I'm very lucky because I'm back to normal health, except for that I have a spot in my vision that is like right up here. It's pixelated. It's all fucked up, and I can't. And it's sort of gone past the time I thought if it will get better, it's going to get better. So I have a feeling this is going to be it for the rest of my life. But that's the only thing wrong with me. You know, I've been getting in shape. I've been losing weight. Prior to the thing, I was sick of myself. I lost 30 pounds. And so I was really kicking ass and trying to stay as healthy and young as I can while I can. And then I got kicked in the dick by this stroke. And like I said, I'm lucky because the doctor told me, because it's on this, my vision problems are on this side of my visual spectrum, means the stroke was on this side of my brain. And he said, had it the other way around, I would have lost a lot of motor skills and, you know, all this other shit. So, hey, I'll take some pixelated vision over not being able to
Yeah.
speak or move arm or so.
What
Yeah,
was it a mild stroke or severe?
it was fairly substantial, but you know, sometimes people get more than one, and they say that the second stroke is the one that really fucks you up. So I'm doing everything I can to not have another stroke. You know, a lot of it has to do with blood thinners, and I got my blood pressure way down. Well, I'm in really good shape right now, like the way I used to be when I was in college. I was an athlete. I was a wrestler, and I was in good shape. And I have not been in that kind of shape since. I mean, I'm not in collegiate wrestling shape, but I'm really taking care of myself now, and I'm not going to have another one. I can't think of anything worse than losing all functionality and having to be. So, yeah, I'm doing the best I can to not end up there again, you know?
We all hope that too, Scott.
Pardon me?
We all hope that too.
Yeah, I know. And everybody's been so kind and so sweet. And I'm really lucky because the people that care about me, and there's a lot of them, care a lot. And they express it to me. And it's overwhelming. And I feel like I don't take that for granted because very few people can experience that. It's, you know, like I said, I've never made any money off music. I can't make it happen. I'm not super popular, you know, and none of it ever kind of culminated in any substantial monetary success. So I'm always struggling. I bought my car from my mother, you know, I'm in my 50s and I drive my mother's car, and I live at my girlfriend's apartment or my mother's. I stop, you know. So like I don't have shit, and I keep slugging it out with this music because it's the only thing I want to do. And I figure you go around once, do the thing you want to do. It's, you know. So so I don't have a lot that I go, wow, that's amazing. But I get to do whatever the fuck I want, and I have a lot of people that are glad I do it, you know, and they express really nice things to me, and that's fucking amazing. Nobody gets that, you know. So, yeah, I had a stroke, but I also had a bunch of people pulling for me, and I think that's a really good trade-off, honestly.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody.
Yeah, and that showed when you were in the hospital. You did a little message for everybody.
Right.
And, you know, you just acknowledged everybody that, you know, I'm okay, and everybody was really glad to hear that.
Yeah. And you remember, I couldn't see hardly at all back then. Remember, I was trying to read my.
Yeah.
It was like really hard. There was one, and it's gotten a lot better, but I think it's sort of stopped now. I think this is about where it's going to be. But yeah, so, you know, I tried to watch Jeopardy because I love Jeopardy when I had it, and it was like I can't even fucking see that. I can't, and I started crying and I turned it off. Like, is this it? You know, am I stuck with this? Now I can watch Jeopardy. I can drive. It's enough up and out of my important visual spectrum that nothing I would run into it covers, you know?
Right.
And if I have to read something that goes clear across the screen, if I tip my head just as much, it goes under my blind spot. It's all stuff I got to get used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, that's great.
Doing great. Doing fucking great, honestly. Yeah.
Is there anything you want to tell us about what you're going to be doing online or anything coming up?
Well, you know, I'm doing these cover songs. I don't know if you've seen it with some fellas, and they're a lot of fun, really fun. I'm probably going to do another show soon. I'm trying to make the shows different. add stuff. Like that's like I got Stefan in to do it, and the guys from the Pavers, and I'm planning to start like a podcast. I've been planning it for a while, but it's going to be a little ways down the road because I have some ideas about how I want it to go. But yeah, watch for concerts. I'm going to do some online shows. I have a feeling the way things are blowing up again, we're all going to be stuck watching shit online for a while. So, yeah. And then watch for Chihuahua and Buffalo because I'm going to put it out. I may just put it out digitally at this point. I don't know what to do, but that record is done, and I'm going to make sure people get it.
That's awesome. I would love to hear it.
Yeah. Cool, man.
I want to thank you so much. I'm glad
thank you.
You're happy and healthy, and I'm going to continue to follow you just like I've always followed you throughout the years.
Great.
And hope to hear more from you.
Yeah, thank you for the interest. And also, what is your son's name?
Brody.
Brody?
Yeah.
Tell him I said hello.
I will.
That's cool. That's cool that he watched that. Tell him I'm glad he liked that Blitzkrieg Bob.
The funny thing about Brody is he doesn't know it, but I don't think he understands, but I took him to see Dave Smalley's band Don't Sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And he met Dave, and so all I need is Chad.
Yeah, you got to figure that out.
You
going to interview Chad?
I did, yes.
Did you?
Yeah, he's working
That's
on
a good
it too.
Yeah. Chad's a good fella. Dave's a good guy. I'm lucky too because I haven't really played music with any assholes. I like a lot of people talk like musicians are dicks, but pretty much everybody I know is a really nice person. So, I don't see that too much. There's a couple. I'm not going to mention names, but for the most part, pretty good dudes.
Well, I've done about 30 of these interviews so far, and I've yet to meet one bad apple.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
And just lucky that way.
No, I think you seem like a nice person, and nice people bring out the niceness in people if there is any. But I see musicians when they should be at their worst. When things go wrong at shows or somebody fucked up, and usually I find musicians to be very patient and unassuming. But then again, I don't deal with rock stars. I deal with the kind of the lower echelon.
Only monetarily, Scott.
For Billy Joel or whatever. What's that?
Only monetarily, because your ability is far above.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I never really expected to get huge. My big goal was to be the size of Elvis Costello or the Ramones, where I could play a decent sized venue anywhere I went and make a living. That was the absolute top of what I wanted. Never got to there, but I can't imagine being a giant rock star. I think that would suck. I think those concerts would be awful.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you would get to meet as many people.
No. And that's another thing that's cool in my life is when I tour places and I go to Europe or whatever, I meet lots of people. Those Europe tours with ALL, especially because we were really broke. We stayed at people's houses, and so I know people, actually know them in all over Europe, in Japan. I have really good friends in South America. When I go down there and play to the most a couple hundred people, the least 30, and I've made incredible friends. I'm lucky. I'm lucky, and I don't ever take it for granted. I think my life has been pretty fucking interesting. So,
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm going to let you go, Scott, and I wanted to thank you for your time and being so kind to us. And you'll
thank you for your interest.
Oh, you'll always have our support, Scott.
Thank you. Watch for the record, Chihuahua and Buffalo.
Solo acoustic, right?
Yep,
Okay.
it's good. It's really good. It turned out really good.
Awesome.
Bill knows what he's doing when he's turning those knobs. Not just Bill, all the people at the blasting room. I got so much help for nothing. For nothing.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, great.
Cool. You have a good day.
You too. Take care. Stay safe.
You too, Scott.
Wear your mask. Stay home if you can.